Hi, good morning, guys. This is Dr. Jenny, user physical therapist and doctor of physical therapy, creator and founder of Balance and Fall Support Group in Aging Adults. For our Thanks God It's Thursday, it's my opportunity to inform you that we have a wonderful physical therapist, clinician, and a leader. So before that, we welcome you if you are in America, United States of America. Good morning. And if you are in Philippines, magandang gabi. To my colleagues in United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, marhaba and salam alaikum. All right. And my friends in Canada, they said, why you're not greeting us? So Canada is, I forgot, what is Canada in French? Like bonjour. So let's use that. Good morning, guys. So every thanks God it's Thursday, we highlighted very good therapists, clinicians. Tell us more their challenges as a physical therapist. You know, we have different innovators. So we are so lucky today for our Thanks God it's Thursday. We have Dr. Philip Goldsmith. He is a physical therapist for more than how many years and serving also as an EMT. He's based now in the border of Maryland and Hanover, Pennsylvania. And this is amazing because we very seldomly met a physical therapist and an EMT. So I'm so excited to know more his challenges for that. And he is also the newly elected president for our home health section in Academy of Physical Therapy Association. And he will be transitioning this coming 2022 after the CSM. And we are so looking forward to learn more how to be coach or a consultant in home health, right? And what are the challenges and wins? What is his vision? Especially majority of his career other than in acute care, skilled nursing is in home health. That's why he's serving in a home health section. Without further ado, I have Dr. Philip Goldsmith. He's a Master of Science in Physical Therapy, Doctor of Science in Physical Therapy, certified in OASIS, and also he is going to learn, will going to learn more about being an EMT. Welcome, Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil, we'll call him Dr. Phil. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. We are so pleased to meet you. So tell us, how are you today? How's everything in Pennsylvania or in Maryland?
So I am based in Hanover, Pennsylvania. We're just over the Mason-Dixon line from Maryland. Everything's great this morning. It's a beautiful morning outside. The sun is shining, and we've got great things to talk about.
Yes, thank you. And we are just neighbor. I'm from Delaware. So we have a beautiful weather right now. So tell us more about what did I miss, Dr. Phil, about your transitioning from being a full-time physical therapist, and now you will be transitioning as a leader. So tell us more. Thank you.
So the great part of what I do is that I still have the flexibility to be involved clinically as well. And I'm thankful for that. I still do see some clients in the home, and I do a little bit of PRN work for a couple of skilled nursing facilities close by here in Hanover. My newest challenge is I've still got 25 more years on my career, even though I'm coming up on 23 years now. And I can't beat my body up for the rest of the life being a staff therapist or even working for myself as a clinician. And you know, I think I have a lot to offer both clinicians, agencies in a consultative role.
That's true. And we are both home health therapists. We know that how challenging it is to be a home health physical therapist. What are your big challenges as a home health versus you work in acute care, skilled nursing? So for people also as a student who's watching right now, what are they looking for, the pros and cons of being a home health, and how can they deal with that to be more effective clinicians in the future?
So the big thing with home health is you're by yourself. I call it flying without a net. There's no backup. There's no nurse close by in a facility if something goes wrong. There's nobody else there. So how can you safely provide nearly the same level of service? And some of it is discretion being the better part of valor and just saying, I don't think we can safely do that here. And some of it is you really have to have the breadth of knowledge and practice at the top of your license and understand that the client's medical problems and medications and environment all play into your treatment and your plan.
That's a good advice. I agree with you. You
I
are.
don't want to hear, except in the few states where the state board has taken a position, I don't want to hear that we don't manage medications, because we do in the home, and we're expected to the extent of your scope of practice.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. We don't depend it with the nurses. Everybody should check the medications, medication reconciliation, and that's a big thing also with us. That's part of the goal that we leave the last. So every visit, we want the medication part of that. You clear the other goals, medication should be stay there until you discharge the client. That's what they educate us as well. I super agree with you. That what needs to be emphasized more. It's not even the wound care, you need to check them. It's not always that the nurse will be doing that. So they have their scopes, but we always going to cover that as well. All right, that's a great point. So
Yeah, it kind of comes back to what we were saying before you went live with us. What are you doing to bring value to your client and your agency? Because Medicare doesn't count visits anymore. You've got to prove your value. And that comes in outcomes, and that comes in avoiding rehospitalizations, because that's what Medicare's looking at now.
So as a home health PT, what do you think as a clinician in home health we need to do? And also that agency that they need to improve. That way we will be more better clinicians and better to our patients.
So the biggest thing we as clinicians can do in the home health environment particularly is do not underdose strength training. In this era when, I go back so far as to IPS, where we were paid a flat rate per visit, through the beginnings of PPS, where 10 was the magic number, and then 6 and 14 and 21, where more visits meant more money. So you had as much time as you wanted almost to do what you needed to achieve with that client. And we're not in that life anymore. Every visit has to count, because we're not seeing clients like we used to. You may only see clients once a week now. So what are you doing every visit to impact that client? On the agency side, Medicare has transitioned and continues to transition to value-based purchasing, literally. And the core measure of that initially is going to be rehospitalization. That means if Medicare isn't counting visits anymore, why are agencies still counting visits? Why are we being held to productivity standards that are simply visit numbers, especially when the visit numbers aren't the same? How can an agency quantify the impact that a therapist is having on clients and on the agency's bottom line? And that's a challenge. And I don't know that we know the answers to that yet, but I think it's something we need to think about.
That's really good. That's why you're going to focus on that this coming after the CSM. We will hear more on those because we are in home health section. I really agree with you. We really need to focus on the quality, and we keep seeing, Dr. Phil, we keep seeing more and more sick clients in our home, which because of also it's like a train, it's like a domino effect. If from the acute care, oh, I'm sorry, we really need to discharge them right away, and this client has an option if they don't want to go rehab, so that's another thing. But some of them who went to rehab, but because again of Medicare reimbursement, a shortened time that they have a time frame, it's not their quality insurance, many other things. That's the reason why they ended up back on home, even they're not ready. So the home health therapist will be like, welcome, I'm home. Okay, that you doesn't look like still not really fit for home health. So, but we'll do what we can do, right? So those are the end point of that. And super agree with the acute care rehospitalization. That's the thing that they check on, how you been. So we need to help each other. Agency, a clinician, that's really true. So what are your experiences, Dr. Phil, when you were in at home? What's the most thing that you remember, your challenge, or just share your experiences that you remember, that when you went to the home, this is what you see. And also the very wonderful things that you remember that you want to cherish, like positive and negative.
Oh, there's so many great things. Oh my goodness. Many years ago, I worked with a young lady with HIV,
Mm,
and she had, acquired the various pneumonias and other opportunistic infections associated with that. And she lived in a second floor apartment. And all she wanted to do was to be able to go to Atlantic City again. And it took us months, but darn if we didn't finally get her down that flight of stairs and back up again. And she was able to get back to doing what she loved. And she was thankful for it and very appreciative. And that was probably one of my biggest wins.
that's nice. That's nice.
Thankfully, I haven't had too many really negative experiences. I mean, you get that. Sometimes you just get those hard to deal with clients, and you know, uh, one of my big axes to grind. Everybody wants to say, "Oh, they're non-compliant." Why are they non-compliant? Because there's usually a why. And that's when you might have to put on that nurse hat or that social worker hat and ask some hard questions. But usually there's a barrier that if you work at it, you can overcome it. Some of my sadder interactions kind of come at the intersection of my physical therapy and my emergency medical technician. I've been an emergency medical technician since I was 18. That's an awfully long time now. I joke it's kind of the family business. My father was a volunteer firefighter, and I volunteer for a fire company now as an EMT, and also as on their board as the treasurer. So I have a pretty deep understanding of nonprofit finances. And I find it's been a really good adjunct for my home health experiences to deal with the medically complex patients and, at least know something to do if something goes sideways, as it often does. In one case, it went as far as me having to ride into the hospital on the ambulance with the client because the ambulance showed up with just a driver. that's an extreme. And that wasn't there. They had actually gotten 3 calls at the same time. They just ran out of people in a volunteer organization on a Wednesday afternoon. But typically it's just having a better understanding of what's going on medically. So it's a nice intersection. I've actually never been paid to function as an EMT. That's always been volunteer, as part of a fire department ambulance or volunteer ambulance service.
Wow, that's really a volunteer. And since you are 18, you say 18 or yeah, 18 years.
18.
Wow, that's really, you say that it's been even longer than you being a physical therapist. So that's awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Phil, for being a volunteer. So how do you think is the road of applying volunteering, especially in this time? I might be different than before, but let's say we would like to volunteer as well in this kind of path, and we are really would like to help. What are the tips on how to do that, being an EMT?
So in most places, you can walk into your local volunteer fire department or volunteer ambulance service. It varies from place to place, and they will provide you the training you need. All you've got to do, literally all you have to do is walk in, fill out an application. There's usually a process that, nowadays there's background checks and drug screenings, and there may be an interview. Shameless plug, do support your volunteer fire companies. Most fire and EMS service in the United States is, believe it or not, volunteer, except for the larger cities and suburbs. And they need your support, either financially, because most of them are not for profits and they rely on your donations. Many of them get very little tax funding. And they need your help. If you don't feel comfortable going through the training to be a firefighter or an EMT, there's plenty that you can do for a volunteer fire company or other emergency service organization without that training.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that we have lots of nonprofits out there. And then I always think they are part of the government, because they are firefighters.
Not necessarily.
Wow.
You're in Delaware.
Yes.
Most of Delaware is covered by volunteer fire and EMS.
Okay. So I always watch 911. So I know how they are partner, right? So there is a firefighters and then there is an EMT. So wow, so that's how it works. Thank you for sharing that. And then as an EMT, it's really good that you're really like your adrenaline always up in there. So that's a good really experience. Right. Thank you so much. And is there like a specific skills that we need to be have to be an EMT?
So from a training standpoint, it's mostly CPR and an advanced first aid course. EMT training runs from about 150 to 200 hours. You can do it in 3 or 4 months, nights and weekends, most places. That's even started to transition to a hybrid online model for some of the lectures. That's really it. It's more just it's a lot like home health. You're going to people's houses, you're seeing them at their worst. And what are you going to do to fix it?
You are more
in
hands-on.
PT, we're looking a little longer term. As an EMT, you're looking, what am I going to do to prevent this person from getting worse until I can get them to the hospital?
Yes, that's really good. Yeah. So
there's a lot of parallels.
EMT will be more on acute, on the spot. Need you here?
Oh yeah.
Like that. But the home health, okay, we need you to be safer. This is your goals. This is your function. This is the step, safety at home, and this is your goal. The goal in EMT, I need you back. I need you to be in the hospital safe and back sound at home. That's it.
Exactly.
All right, that's a good point. So, thank you so much for that. So, in your skills as a great clinician, home health therapist, and you are now also a consultant, what are the different courses or books that makes you a very good clinician, and now you're transitioning to be a great leader that influence you that you can share to us?
I would have to say that the best course I ever took was Mary Massery's PNF course. I still have to take If You Can't Breathe, You Can't Function. And she doesn't give the PNF course very often anymore. But it is a great course that melds some of the traditional PNF dogma, for lack of a better word, with current clinical practice.
That's
So
good.
it kind
I
of
haven't
unlocks
familiar with that.
PNF from that very
Mhm,
tight box that we were taught it in PT school
mhm.
to really become something functional.
Yeah, I have a different PNF course. I think those are also. I haven't heard Mary Masters, so that's really good to know. And how about the different books, different courses that are home health related that they want to improve, like clinicians, they want to improve their skills.
So shameless plug, my two favorite home health books are both APTA Home Health publications. One is the Guide to Physical Therapy in the Home, which is currently undergoing an extensive, oh, I don't even want to call it a revision. It's going to be a new edition of the book. And the other one that is currently available is, and I'm going to butcher this title, but we just call it the Toolbox.
Mhm.
And literally, it is and it's on its second edition.
Mhm.
It is a free download for APTA Home Health members.
Nice. Okay. Mhm.
Um, don't recommend printing it. It's a big book. It's 100+ pages. And it is a compendium of objective functional measures and, common subjective questionnaires. The new edition does a really nice job of addressing health literacy and socioeconomic issues
Wow,
and
that's a great
psychosocial
point.
issues.
So
Yeah.
good to know that we have those toolbox, and especially if they are new clinicians and then transitioning from different setting to home health, that they have this kind of toolbox. I agree because when I was new, Dr. Phil, I have only a few functional outcome measures that I know. And then during orientation in my first job in the house calls, and I said, "Oh, there's more than five." There are more, almost 30 in different like strength. There are more than five in balance. There are more than 10, and then falls prevention. Wow, you really need to keep learning and learning, so you will be more effective for your patients. So thank you so much. Yeah. So how about your favorite exercise to improve balance and falls, especially in their home? We have limitations, but we keep doing it, right? We modify.
I am a and I will also give credit to Dustin Jones and Ice Physio. I'm a big fan of body weight exercise, squats and modified deadlifts, loaded carry. I mean, all that stuff is functional. It's not a far jump from sit to stand to a deadlift. I'll often give my client something to hold in their hands, often starting very light and then progressing upward to hold on to as they do sit to stands. It's a great activity.
Awesome. Good.
Loaded carry is no different than carrying your plate of breakfast from the kitchen to the dining room. It's all functional stuff.
Beautiful.
And
Good
it's all
point.
stuff that you'll have in the home.
Exactly. We are gearing more on functional. So what's your goal? I want to go to the grocery again. But how can you do the grocery if you can't even carry your grocery? Nah,
Right.
right? So now we need food loading. Yes, I did the management in modern management in older adults with Dr. Dustin Jones. I told him, when are you coming here close to East Coast, Delaware? And he had it in your area at one time in Maryland. So I was able to book that particular time because he's all over. They're all over. So I just asked
Yeah.
him, when are you be in the East Coast? I agree. And some doctors don't understand that, how you will and why you will going to put too much load on them. Are you crazy carrying an elderly with this weight? So they really need to emphasize this is body weight training, bone density, fall prevention, balance training.
And let's be honest, there's a lot of stereotypes and implicit bias there. And we need to get out of that.
Good point. Good point. Yeah. It's always thinking, oh, age is weak, old is, that's why he said
Yeah.
in ICE, old is not weak. So kudos to Dr. Dustin Jones, and they always ICE physio, Jerry on ICE. They have a wonderful every Wednesday if you subscribe on their email. So there is a hump day on ICE,
Yeah, the
they will
hump day
send
hustle, and then
hump day
Friday is
hustle.
their geriatric focused
Mm-hmm.
email. That's
Yes,
really nice.
yes. It is every Wednesday you will receive a different articles, and that's what I base every Wednesday. I receive that. Dr. Phil, that's why in the balance and fall support group, any articles that is every Wednesday, I get it
Yeah.
from there and I share to the team because that's really, really helpful. So it's different, related in high intensity exercise or all ortho, but it's more on for us geriatrics here. All right. Any other, how about your any books? We have those for your leadership and your skills. Do you have any specific books that make you become a better leader that you can share to us? You will be our president elect in our
I
home health.
can't
Congratulations.
say I can't say that I've done a lot of formal reading on leadership.
You're
And
inborn,
at this
right?
point,
You're a born
with a
leader.
business and an 8-year-old boy and all of the things I do, it's hard to find time to read.
Yeah. We have audibles now, Dr. Phil.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've started to get into that.
yeah,
I'm a little old fashioned. I still like turning the pages of a book.
yeah. I am slow reader if it is a book, but in Philippines, we really need to read big books as a therapist, right? And how is small their scripture, so their letters and everything. But right now is a good point for us home therapists that we have these audio books that while you're driving, you just listen to this high motivational speakers or those things that you love and most. Thank you so much, Dr. Phil, for sharing. Tell us more about what you're doing now and what do you want to share and for our clinicians and clients that are listening right now.
So right now I have my own business, Goldsmith Therapy Solutions, that's about a year old. And right now it's a somewhat eclectic mix. I'm doing some contracted rehab management as well as still seeing some clients, which is always fun. And I'm trying to build the consulting side of the house and the rehab management side of the house. I think I have a lot to offer. I know many of the home health related businesses focus on Oasis and coding. I can certainly provide the Oasis, and I'm looking into the coding side. I'm more looking at the clinical and compliance side. Is your documentation up to snuff to survive an audit? Are you going to lose revenue? Are your clinicians doing the things they need to be doing to get the outcomes that will allow your agency to survive value-based purchasing? Do they have the knowledge base? Do you understand what the measurables are? Are you trying to transition your agency's model so that maybe productivity isn't just a number of visits?
Good. Wow, that's really strong. So your clients now will be more on agencies, right? So more on the
More at the
like,
home health agency
yes,
level,
the home health
yes.
agencies,
To,
because you're going
to
to
be
do more
transformative.
education. Wow. Yeah, you need to deal with the admins. That way, the admins, and you can also be in with us listening to you as a clinicians during those trainings, because the admins will relay everything. All right, that's a good
But
point.
I
That's
have a
very helpful.
clinician's heart and I still do provide clinical services. And I'm going to cite a dear friend and mentor who recently left us, unfortunately, who had this same drive, because it's not, like I said, are you documenting the right things? Are we spending too much time around the edges? That was Dr. Carol Zeneker. She recently passed the Sunday after Thanksgiving. And that was her big thing. Why are we documenting things that aren't necessarily relevant? Or why are we documenting the same thing 3 times? Are we documenting things we don't have to be documenting?
Mhm. That's a good point. Sometimes we are just wasting our time and we didn't know that it's not important. And maybe Medicare wanted those keywords. If we only know that, we save our time as clinicians, and then we save our company, right? So thank
Right.
you
And there's
for
a lot of
emphasizing that.
Medicare regulations that are more urban legend than anything else. And they're not really in the Medicare regulations or conditions of participation.
Okay, yes. We
Yeah.
keep
A
thinking
lot
that
of
before.
people say, oh, it's a Medicare regulation. Really? Is it? Show me.
Uh-huh.
And
So
that's
that,
not my line originally. That's actually Cindy Kraft's line.
yes. We have those with the Cornety and Cindy. So we have,
Yes.
they are a good also resources. They're teaching more on the Medicare, Oasis. We have those kinds of CEUs at one point. Thank you so much for emphasizing this, Dr. Phil. Thank you. So any last remarks, closing remarks for the upcoming PT in home health, and any tips for them?
I'm going to steal from the decor of the coffee shop down the street from my house. Work hard, be kind, treat people well.
Mhm.
I had a colleague I worked with. He always said, come to work every day and do your job well. It's that simple.
Mhm. Yeah, be compassionate. It's
Yes.
it's really, that's our key program in our company. Be compassionate. It's hard to be in home health. You are going to different people's houses. Once you're there, you can be endangered, or you can be giving, great value. You need to be on your best, physically and mentally.
Oh, we
And
could go on for another hour about personal safety and home health. That's a
exactly.
whole nother axe to grind.
Yes, and also as a physical therapist, Dr. Phil, sometimes we really see them in their bad days, in
Yeah.
their bad time, bad condition. We sometimes talk like physical therapist slash psychotherapist, psychologist. You need to know, as what you've said, what is your why you're not being non-compliant, what is your goal. That way, that's where we will focus on. We need this goal, and we are like a coach. We are wearing
Yes.
different hats. So that's really good. Thank you so much for sharing that. And share us your how we can contact you and how we can connect with you.
So the best way to contact me is via email. My email is pgoldpt@gmail.com.
Thank you so much. And we can connect with you in those things. And again,
And
congratulations.
I use
Dr.
Facebook and Twitter. I'm easy
Yes,
to find either place.
yes.
I
He's on
haven't gotten
Facebook.
fancy enough for Instagram yet.
Okay, okay. I don't have Twitter, but I have IG. But congratulations. So you can connect with Dr. Phil, Facebook, email, and we will put his email on the post once this is published. Thank you so much. Dr. Phil, I appreciate you for this wonderful time. We learn a lot from you, and we will keep connecting with you for future. We congratulate you for being the president-elect, and you will be on board after this CSM 2022. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you again for having me, Dr. Jenny. And I hope to see lots of faces, both new and old, at CSM in San Antonio.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Yes, guys. So it will be in San Antonio, Texas, this coming February 2022. Yes. So guys, it's a wonderful, thanks God, it's Thursday again. Great innovator, clinician. We have this time a physical therapist, an born leader, and an EMT. So thank you so much, Dr. Phil. So guys, if you have any questions, and any questions or advices that you're looking for. If you're a client looking forward in that area, Hanover, Maryland, and looking forward, if you're in an agency that you think you might benefit with Dr. Phil's skills and knowledge, connect with him or connect with us and we can refer you to him. So guys, it's me again, Dr. Jenny Yusuf, physical therapist and Dr. Physical Therapy. I'm the current Vice Chair of Global Health in Aging and in Healthcare in Special Interest Group, Geriatric Clinical Specialist, and Certified Exercise Expert in Aging Adults. We love geriatrics. We love to help you. Connect with us. Thank you and have a great day. God bless. Thank you, Dr. Phil.
Thank you.